Hey there, gardener. My tomatoes are insane this season, all thanks to some tweaks I made to my fertilizer schedule. So I want to share with you guys my expert tomato fertilization tips to get the most vigorous plants with the most production possible. If you're new here, my name is Jara. I've been gardening all of my life and I'm a professional seed and plant nursery. I love to share my knowledge and teach others how to garden and grow food. So you've come to the right place if you want to improve your gardening skills. If you've been following me for some time, you all know that I'm obsessed with growing tomatoes. Over the years, I have tested out so many different methods and techniques, especially when it comes to fertilizing, in an attempt to get maximum production out of my plants. So I want to share with you my current tomato fertilizer schedule that helped me achieve these massive results. Right here is a black strawberry cherry tomato that is just loaded. Look at how gorgeous these trusses are. And here is a beefsteak variety called Giant Siberian Pink. The plant is covered in these huge beefsteak tomatoes. I can't wait to start harvesting. Okay, so let's talk about tomato fertilization. The goal is to fertilize in such a way that you trigger the most flowers, which will result in fruit. So you need to understand what each fertilizer component does and when to apply it so you can manipulate its growing process. Basically make the tomato plant do what you want, which is produce more flowers. Let me explain. When you purchase fertilizer, you will see three main nutrients on the label: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The first nutrient, nitrogen, supports leafy green growth. It will make your tomato plants grow new leaves and stems. This is important initially to help newly planted seedlings get established. To give my tomato plants nitrogen, I use Espoma brand Tomato Tone organic granular fertilizer. The second nutrient is phosphorus. It supports cell division, root development, nutrient uptake, and flowering. And the third major nutrient is potassium, which influences fruit quality, acidity, size, appearance, and color. Phosphorus and potassium are the key nutrients when it comes to flower and fruit production. To boost both phosphorus and potassium, I use this water-soluble bloom booster. Too much nitrogen causes the plant to focus too much energy on growth. You get a huge plant with lots of leaves instead of flowers and fruit. So we have got to balance that out with the phosphorus and potassium. Now let's use this knowledge to build a fertilizer schedule. I have basically separated this schedule into two stages. Stage 1 is the initial planting and stage 2 is flowering and production. Let's talk about stage 1. This is when you transplant the tomato seedling into your garden up until you see the first set of flowers. When you transplant a tomato, the first application of fertilizer will be adding some into the planting hole. I sprinkle in some Espoma Tomato Tone because at this stage we want to encourage new growth on the seedling and help it get established. So nitrogen is important right now. You will fertilize again when you see your new seedling has started to put on new growth with 1/4 cup of Espoma Tomato Tone. From here on out, we will continue to fertilize our tomato plants with something every 3 weeks. Now, once we see the first flower cluster forming on our tomato plants, we go to stage 2 of fertilizing. We need to support flower and fruit production by fertilizing with phosphorus and potassium and start backing off on nitrogen. The next time it's time to fertilize, you're going to use the bloom booster only. Don't sprinkle the tomato tone. We want to give this plant a shot of potassium and phosphorus to encourage more flowers. From here on out, we're going to alternate. You give it some bloom booster once it starts flowering, then 3 weeks later, some more Espoma Tomato Tone, then in 3 more weeks, some more bloom booster. And this continues until your season is over and your tomato plants die, basically. I hope this makes sense and I've not lost you. I created a free printable PDF tomato fertilizer schedule sheet where you write the date and it will tell you what to fertilize with. If you want a copy sent to your email, please follow the link in the description below. This is my tomato fertilizer schedule that has helped me pull the most production out of each plant. But I have one last bonus tip for you. Please do this to instantly increase yields. We are fertilizing in such a way that your plants should be loaded with flowers. Please, please, please shake those flowers to release pollen, which will pollinate the flower and make sure it will set fruit. Tomatoes are wind pollinated, meaning when the flowers are shaken, it releases pollen from the male stamen. The pollen floats in the air and lands on the female pistil, making it get pollinated and produce fruit. Tomato flowers are so small, it's hard to see these parts of the flower, but trust me, they're in there. As you're walking by, shake your plants. Some people like to shake the flower clusters with an electric toothbrush. I always forget to bring other tools with me, like an electric toothbrush, but I don't forget my hands, so for me, it's just easier to shake the stems as I walk by with my hands. The wind and bees will help, but sometimes they miss a flower, so this little trick will just help you get more flowers pollinated. And if you have any products you like to use when growing tomatoes or tricks to force more flowers and fruits out of the plants, please comment and let me know. I learned just as much from you guys as you do from me. If you want to grow the very same tomatoes that you see in my garden and that I personally love, you can find seeds on my website. I hope my tomato fertilizer schedule helps you grow more tomatoes. If you would like to learn more about growing tomatoes, I have an entire playlist which I will link below. Thank you for watching and happy gardening.